Mike, did you ever have that feeling early on of like, ugh, corporate Kool-Aid, these people are lying, this is all nonsense, or not really?
Yeah, I think for me, like I remember the first all hands I went to as an employee of a company. I was working at Sybase, the database company that essentially made Oracle what it is today. We sat in an all hands. I think what was the guy's? I forget the CEO's name. I probably should remember that. He stood up and he was addressing the company, and I remember I just got a new pager that'll date it. And I sat there as a 22-year-old playing with my beeper the whole time, and I was listening to him, and then I was barely listening though. I was kind of just fidgeting. That's for people who know me. I've got a weird brain, and so I need to have things to play with. My boss called me out for it, and then called me into her office and said, "You weren't paying attention. Like, you should pay attention." And then I recounted to her. I'm like, "No, I was paying attention." He basically said, and then I went through and summarized it. And I said that, and then my conclusion was, he wasn't really being truthful, because he was simultaneously saying, that things were good while he was signaling we were weak in one area. And then, we had layoffs a couple of weeks later. And so to me, that it reinforced, a lot of what you're feeling, right? When you hear people talk, I think you're skeptical. And then I went through most of my career, like early career, being some combination of bored or judgmental in these types of settings, where either I thought the information was irrelevant, bored, or I was looking for all of the things that they were wrong about, judgmental. And in being that way, I will tell you that I did not connect with what they were trying to do until I was in middle management. And then for me, the light bulb wasn't because somebody said something that sparked interest or understanding. I was forced to put together the material that showed on one of the slides. And then I had to make the story, and then I had to watch my story be bastardized on a stage, because what that person said was not what I had coached them to say. And so I sat there in nightmarish disbelief as my words were twisted. And then I was like, oh, this is harder than it seems. And so then from there, I think I had a different perspective. And I'll wrap my monologue here. I've been on the other side, where I've been the talking person who's had to deliver these things. And I've looked with anguish upon, 70% of the audience as they look at me with those saucer eyes, and you're like, wow, they want to be anywhere but here. So I've come full circle, right?